Family, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing a part of your afternoon with us. My name is Carla Daly, and I'm the founder of I'm My Sister's Keeper LLC. Today, I am honored to share this space with five incredible guest speakers as we step into this powerful conversation together. Today, my guest speakers are Dee Dee King, and she's all things finance, Dr. Yolanda Bennett, higher learning, Liz Christie, health and wellness, Wanda Harris, mind and body, and Dr. David Hatch, personal development. Now, listen, and I have my notes because if I don't have notes, I'm not going to stick to the script and I'll start talking, and we don't have time for that. I need to stick to the script. All right. The theme of my virtual event didn't just happen because a group of us was brainstorming. It came out of a real live moment situation. My best friend, who's from Trinidad, or one of my best friends from Trinidad, her mother's in the US visiting. And her mother said the other night, and it stopped us both in our tracks. Her mom said, well, let me give you a little bit of history about her mother. Her mother is a woman who spent her entire life pouring into everyone around her. She's a stay at home mom who raised two children, and to be honest, a third, which was her husband. But listen, she said it, I didn't. She said with tears in her eyes, girls, if I had known, I would have chosen me sooner. And we were so caught off guard, we didn't know how to respond to that. Her mom said, I've never been to college. I've never had a bank account. I don't know how to manage money. I've never had a birthday party. I've never taken a girls' trip. I don't even know exactly what my favorite meal is. I don't really have any friends. And it was in that moment, it hit me. Life just didn't pass her by. She passed herself by because she was taught that choosing herself was selfish and that perhaps she would get back to it later, but later really never came. And so the truth is, her story isn't rare, it's familiar. It's some of our mothers and some of our aunties and some of our grandmothers. And for many women, it's still their story right now. This event is for the woman who spent years shrinking, sacrificing, surviving, and showing up for everyone but herself. It's for the woman who has carried her household, her marriage, her family, and community, and kind of forgotten about her own heart. And so today, Mama Gigi, this is for you. In
Absolutely.
the building, I have Dr. Dee Dee King. Dr. Dee Dee King is a powerful speaker, a champion of financial literacy, and a true woman of God. She is a soldier on the battlefield. She is a destiny helper. She is one of my destiny helpers, and a radiant example of what it looks like to walk in purpose and positivity and grace. No matter the season, she leans on God for everything, and her life reflects the strength that comes from unwavering faith. How did I do, Dr. King?
That
How did
was
I?
absolutely, listen, I honor God, first of all. So let me just start off by saying, praise the Lord, right?
All right.
Praise the Lord. I am definitely, I'm not a religious person. I'm going to be very transparent with you. I have learned with my relationship with Christ that I'm not even necessarily a Christian. I am an ambassador. Listen, I am a daughter of God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. So, again, I am, and I tell individuals, teaching and educating others, my children, my family, that once you understand who you are, once you understand your identity, once you understand your purpose, right? Once you understand the level of who God is in your life, everything else will fall into its perspective place for you. So I am definitely honored. I am definitely grateful to be a part of this platform with you. I am grateful to be a part of this conference with you. And as you begin to speak on this beautiful mother, as you stated, this is so many of us as
Yes.
women. This is our
Yes.
story, right? This is my mother's story. Listen, there was a time that was my story.
All
until
right.
I was able to educate myself, right? And with education, being able to say, what is priority, right? What is the most valuable asset that I, me, Demetrius, Dee Dee King, can consume? And that's me, my mind, who I am. I am the greatest asset that I could ever be to myself and others. So, being able to understand my identity, my purpose, who I am, who God has called me to be, and what my purpose is here on earth, everything else falls in place, Carla. Everything else falls in place. And I'm just so grateful because I was able to be at a place where my mind shifted, right? Because it comes in the mind, my mind shifted, and I
Mm-hmm.
was able to understand, okay, why am I here? I'm not here to necessarily work a 9 to 5. I'm not necessarily here to be a wife and a mother that I'm exhausted, I'm being pulled, and I'm tired. And I don't have time for me, right? And I'm not really being the example in who God created me to be here on earth. So I had to pause, right? Reflect. I had to come to myself, seek my maker, who is Jesus, and say, God, I need to understand, why did you create me? Why am I here on this earth? What is my purpose for being here? Because I know my purpose is not just to be here to work a 9 to 5, right? To be a mother and to be a wife. Like, those are parts of me. But what is my purpose for being here? What is my being for being here? Why did you create me in this world, on this earth? So, when I was able to understand that and seek the face of God to get clarity and understanding in that, everything else fell in place, Carla. And so, again, like I said, I am so grateful because, again, that's so many stories for so many women.
And I agree 100% because I have family members that also can speak on the neglect of themselves because there were other things that took precedence in their life. But I know that you are all things finance. And so the question is, Mama Gigi said she never had a bank account. She doesn't really know how to manage money. What is she doing, Didi? Because it's still not over yet. It's not over until it's over. So what should she do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's definitely not over yet. And I would say to Mama Gigi, definitely start small, right? Go ahead and open up that bank account, right? And go ahead and put money in that bank account. So for me, and again, I'm all things finance. I'm an account finance manager, so I'm gonna go back a bit.
Uh,
And just by going back just a bit, I'm gonna give you a testimony of this young teenager. I've got to take you there so you can understand some
you
steps
got to
and
build it up. Build it up.
understand who I am, right? So in the 11th grade, this vibrant young girl that grew up in a Christian based home, right? My mother was a Christian. Um, UPCI was our background denomination. My bonus father was as well, was at church all the time. So it was definitely instilled into me, right? God and prayer. And so that was instilled into me as a young girl. This 11th, 16, 17-year old girl, I never forget, there were some issues that took place with me in high school. And this particular young girl dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. Okay. This particular young girl that dropped out in the 11th grade decided that I was going to make Macy's my full time job, right? And I was going to become the manager, I was going to become the CFO or whatever. In my mind, right, that sky was the limit for me. I never forget a month in, I received a phone call from my mother. And she said to me, Dee Dee, I need you to get home. And I don't want you to say anything to me. Get home. And I never forget, it was the longest bus ride home because in my mind, I was saying to myself, did my mom find out I dropped out of high school? Like, did
Mm,
she know? And I never forget walking into the house and my mother looking at me with this disappointment in her face, right? Because one of the things about us as mothers, we always want the best for our children, right? We always want
absolutely.
better for us than our children, right? We're better for our children than us, excuse me. Thank you, God.
Hmm.
So I never forget, and for my mom, she was a disciplinary, right? So I knew that with all of that, I was going to get disciplined and all of that. But she looked at me and I could see the hurt in her face. And she said, where are you going? What are you doing? And I said, well, I'm going to be a manager at Riches and I'm going to do that. And she said, but no, 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 where are you going? I'm not understanding this. And I kept telling her what I'm going to do at this company and this, that, and the other. And I never forget. She said, okay, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to fight with you. You think you're grown. You think you know it all. So I'm allowing you to do what you do. Just make sure you go to church on Wednesday nights and on Sundays. Not everything else. It don't, because you think you grown. I said, okay, as long as I'm in your, I'm going to do just that. 2 months later, I believe I was fired
Oh my
from
God.
this job. And being fired from this job, it hurt me as a young child because I'm like, wait a minute, this is my world, right? This is what I'm thinking that I'm going to be the CFO, this, that, and other. But I'll never forget while I was working at Riches, and this particular young lady, we are still connected to this day. She is doing some amazing things here in Georgia. She was at the time a new, vibrant recruiter for Bank of America.
Hmm.
So I reached out and called her and I said, listen, I just got fired from my job. You gave me this flyer for Bank of America hiring. Um, can I look more into this? And she said, absolutely, go and apply. So I went and applied. Me and my mother began to pray about it. And my mom asked me, she said, Dee Dee, did you let her know that you didn't graduate from high school? You don't have a high school diploma? And I said, Ma, I don't. I didn't tell her. She said, call this lady back and let her know that you don't have a high school diploma. So when I called my dear friend Nicole back, she said, what? And I said, yeah. She said, I got something for you. And this particular young lady, I never forget, she gave me some details about a accredited diploma that you could receive online that will also allow you to go to college if you wanted to do so as well. I believe for me, Carla, that's where, as a young girl, faith took place for me. Not what my mom taught me, not what I knew the pastor said to me, but my faith, my belief, who I was. And the reason why I say that is because during this process of the interviews with the managers at Bank of America and all of these different things that I had to go through to be a teller, and I was actually became a teller, and it was a teller for 4 years. When I look back on it and me and my mother discuss it, I don't believe that my high school diploma came in time for me to get the job opportunity. But I trusted God, right? I had faith in, I don't see a result. but I am trusting you, right, to get this opportunity and to do better with my life. So, with that, a lot of faith and my relationship with God began. Now, I will take it a step back because during this time, I again, if you want to call it backslid, I did in my early days of life, in my 20s or in my 30s, where I didn't go to church, right? Um, but I believed in God. Um, and I will never forget one of the things, just being very transparent with you, kind of speeding this up a bit.
Mm.
Um, when I received my degree, my degree in accounting, I never forget the first thing because I was excited, right? I was excited. I had made another accomplishment in my life. I never forget my mom said to me, she said, okay, you got your bachelor's degree, but how's your relationship with Christ? And I'm like, I got a relationship with Christ, Mom. And she said, okay, I get you. I understand. But again, through life and trials and tribulations happening and just different things in my world, I received a lot of no's before I received a lot of yeses. And I'm going to be transparent with this as well. My understanding with even wealth and assets and just with how to accumulate, how to stay out of a poverty place, it really came with me thinking in my mind, Carla, that I had to overwork. I had to overdo. I had to overproduce. I had to be the best. I had to be perfect. And I'm going to be very transparent with you. It was a lie. It was a lie. I never forget the age of 33, I believe it was, coming to a place and a point where I was literally here in Georgia, mentally exhausted, just married my husband. We've been married for 10 years now. I have two small children at the time, and they're not his biological children, but two small children in the accounting world. But at the same time, I was not getting the opportunities, right? The doors were not necessarily opening up for me. I was not being able to get the position or the leadership acknowledgement that I thought that I could get by overworking, working in office at the time, out of the office, just overdoing it, right? Um, and I was mentally exhausted. I ended up being laid off of this particular job. And at this time, I talked to my husband and was like, listen, I want to kind of fall back some. Can we move to your hometown in Greenville, North Carolina, and let's do life there? So I'm going to be very transparent with you, Carla. That's when a lot of shift in my mindset began to happen till I began to understand who God is in my life, right? What that relationship piece really meant with my mom, and really understanding who I was, what my identity was, what my purpose is here in life. Being able to, and I've got to do this Bible, the Word of God, being my blueprint. I'm gonna be transparent with you. Being able to get in the Word of God and allowing the Word of God to come to life concerning me. And with that being said, Carla, it opened up a lot of doors for me. Being able to understand and realize who Demetrius was. I'm going to be very transparent with you who I was, why I was created. The Bible tells us in Matthew 6 and 33, seek first the kingdom of God, and all his righteousness will be added unto us, right? So being
Mhm.
able to say, God, I'm going to seek you first, and then everything else will fall into its perspective place, right? And that's with my finances, that's with my job, that's with my family, that's with everything else. Being able to say, God, I'm going to put you first, I'm going to seek you first, and then everything else will fall in place. And with that mind shift, Carla, then I began to love Dee Dee more, right? I began to say, I got to take some time out for Dee Dee. I've got to take a mental break, right? To where I'm able to say, wait, I'm going to say no to working overtime. Wait,
Right.
I'm going to say no to going out with the girls. I'm going to say no to having to do this, that, and another when it
Right.
comes to family. So, what I would definitely say to Mama Gigi is, I'm going to be transparent, seeking God and what that looks like for her. I'm going to be transparent. Whatever God gives her concerning her finances, because one of the things that we have to understand here, being in America, being in this country, we feel like the American dream is to have the mortgage, to have the amazing job, and to have all these different things. To is that really being a ambassador of who God is in for us? I'm an ambassador. You're an ambassador for Christ. Is that
Mhm.
what he really designed for us? Is to have this American dream, or is it kingdom? What does kingdom look like for us? That means not being in a state of mind of being poor and in poverty, right? That is not being in fearful. That's not being overwhelmed, discombobulated, and living the life of what man is telling us we're supposed to live, and being able to say, God, what do you have for me? What are your plans for me? And everything else falling into that perspective place. And I'll tell you, having that mindset and having the ability to shift my mind and understand all of that, just last year, thinking I'm going to, when I was laid off of a job, thinking, okay, I'm going to go with the company that pays more. And then understanding God speaking to me because I've got that relationship with Him, right? And telling
Yes.
me, that's not your place. Your place
Mhm.
is not to be on a job for you to pay your bills. If you are seeking me and you're an ambassador of who I am in your life, then all that is going to come into place because you are a daughter of the king. So my mindset, and this is new, I'm going to be very transparent within I would say the last 2 years for me, Carla, is when I go on a job, I'm not even going on a job because I need money to pay my bills. I'm not even going on a job because I feel like I have got to make this type of money. I am going on a job for an assignment. This is purpose. This is an assignment. This is a calling for me. So, with that being said, the job that I am on now, where I am the finance manager of this IT company that is out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I
Mhm.
started off with this job last year as a temp. I received 3 promotions during that time. And then I started off being hired on permanently. And then in December, I was, no, let me take it back. In October, I was hired on permanently. And then in December, I was offered the opportunity to be the finance manager for this company. And I tell you, God has been doing some amazing things while I have been in this company. I have been able to lead prayer over my team. I have been able to have opportunities when I go out of town with my CFO, which is a beautiful Caucasian woman. We have time to speak and talk about who God is in my life. And she's able to educate me and talk to me about finances, about different IRAs and avenues of how I can put money for my children in these different accounts. See, it's always levels to different things, right? To what God
Yes, ma'am.
has in our lives, in the individuals that He placed in our lives as well. And for me,
Hmm.
Carla, the main thing is to be able to be a light to individuals and give who God is in my life, and everything else will fall into its perspective place, most definitely. So, again, with that being said, I have definitely received a lot of no's, but God has blessed me and my family over the years to where we are living a life of favor and abundance. I tell people, and it's not a brag, it's not even a flex, it's a God thing to be able to have the opportunity to have two deeds, right? I was blessed with my father when he passed back in 2020, to where he had given me this, it willed in this particular deed for his property that he had, and then being able to use wisdom, hallelujah, knowledge and understanding. My husband and I were able to close and pay off our townhome in Greenville, North Carolina, and receive the deed to it last year in November. And it was an amazing thing. But even with that, I would definitely say, and I tell people all the time, it was a God did it thing. It was never something that I would even think that I would have done. And the reason why is because I look back over my life and I think about how I would have responded to certain things, but being able to say, God, I choose to take on your mindset and your characteristics through certain things in my life and do things the way Christ does it, right? And with that
Yes, ma'am.
being said, being able to say, you know what? When everybody was going through trials and tribulations with life and during the pandemic, and me as
Hmm.
well, and turning those trials and tribulations into a testimony to where my husband and I were having the opportunity to double up, really triple up on our mortgage in Greenville, North Carolina, and being here in Georgia. We were in Georgia at the time, and being able to have the opportunity to pay this mortgage and triple up.
That's a blessing, Dee Dee.
It is an absolute blessing. And I say this because, again, being able to say, God, I choose to have your mindset, your characteristics. And God will give us, He will give us wisdom. What did He give Solomon? Solomon asked for what? He didn't ask for money. He didn't ask
Hmm.
for to have a long life of health. He asked for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And one of the things that I said, God, I thank you, is with you giving me wisdom. See, there was a situation, and I don't have time to go through it right now, but there was a situation where there was a beauty for ashes for me and my family back in 2001, to where we were able to be effective and efficient with properly using and handling our money, to where my husband was saying, you know what? Let's take this money. No, we didn't save it, didn't put it in a savings account. We took
Hmm.
the money and we placed it into our property, right? Because again, you've got to think about it. And that's the American thought, right? Savings. How much can I save? How much can I
Yeah.
save? But that's the American dream. What is the wisdom, knowledge, and the understanding that God is asking for you to do now.
Dee Dee,
So,
you have said a mouthful. I appreciate you. We appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon because you're busy as a bumblebee. Okay. I thank you so very
Lori,
much for showing up and showing out
you're
this Saturday
welcome.
afternoon.
Absolutely,
And
you're
this will
welcome.
not be the last time that
No,
you are
absolutely.
involved in anything that has to do with I My Sister's Keeper. So, Dee Dee, I
You're
appreciate you. We have to get on to the next speaker, but I'll talk to you later.
absolutely.
Bye, Dee Dee. Liz, I'm gonna bring you in because I don't know what
Oh,
happened to Wanda. So we're gonna
God
bring
just
you in now.
glorified himself on this day. He just oh my goodness. Ooh, ooh.
I don't
I'm
know where Wanda is.
speechless, and that's a
Oh,
very rare
okay.
thing. Oh my
That's
goodness.
Dr. Dee Dee
I
King. That was
enjoyed my
Dr. Dee Dee
sister,
King.
Dr. King. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep living that Colossians 3:23, doing everything as in service unto God. Oh my. Whoo.
That was
See, I
Dr.
love
Dee
it
Dee
because
King.
see, when he is such an integral part of your life, everything
Yeah.
just flows in that manner. And wow. So we're waiting for
Wait, I have to introduce you. So I'm gonna
oh yes,
introduce you.
oops.
Okay, so I see Wanda. I'm gonna introduce you and then we'll get to Wanda because Wanda is
Oh,
in and out.
absolutely.
Do we?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay,
I'm
wait.
look,
Let me
I'm
see. Let me
starstruck,
see what's going
awestruck right now.
on. Wanda, you ready, Wanda? Oh, I forgot I have her volume out. Wanda, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, Sister Liz, we gonna see you in a few. Okay. So next up, we have Miss Wanda Harris, who wears many hats. She's a life coach. She's an author. She's a motivational speaker. She's a mentor. She's a business course creator. And now she's the holder of a patent for children's shoes. Now that has blown me away. She has a patent for children's shoes, and I've seen the shoes, and they're very, very nice. And I'm super excited for her because she is getting ready to shop the shoe to major corporations. I am blown away. I am blown away, and I'm so proud of you for that. Um, but she also serves a growing roster of business clients in New York City, supporting their development with her signature wisdom and leadership skills. So, Wanda, the theme of today is if I had known, I would have chosen me sooner. Take it away. Take it away.
Hi,
Take it away.
everybody. I am so glad to be here, and and Dee Dee, thank you. That was such a great testimony, and
It's amazing.
wow, it just rocked my heart. So Carly, keep up with the timing. I think I have 20 minutes here, so I'm gonna
I know. I'm
try to.
watching you guys. I'm watching you guys.
And today's topic is: had I known, I would chosen me sooner. And I love that topic
Yeah.
because it absolutely allows everyone to know that put you in a place of thinking, wow, something I could have done differently, or something I could have probably maybe done differently, or maybe put first. And I want to say now that that is a great thing to realize because now you know where you want to have a reset moment or view what you've been doing or view what you have been doing. And what I'm going to talk about today is everything you have chosen have prepared you to be you. So I'm just going to say that there were no mistakes along the way. Probably I look at mistakes as things called errors, like an error. Um, just to know that everything you have done up to this point have really been there's a miracle behind, or there's an inspirational or learning or growing or something in that mistake era that you have grown from. There's something there when we can remove ourselves from looking at, well, where's the error, well, this was a mistake, or how much of this did I have really put into my life to really know that I have made a wrong choice, and we're just going to say another new choice. So I'm going to start that there. And just know that now, from this moment on, and hearing this, everything you've chosen have prepared you for where you are now. And we're going to really look at that so we can really have a feeling that that is true. So now there's something called contrast learning. And when you hear contrast learning, it makes you think that, okay, there's something that's going against me, something that's feeling like I'm out of alignment. There have been some detours, some distractions. And in that, that is supposed to be there, because if it's not there, then we can't see. We can't be able to see what our vision is and to hold, to reshape things. You're like, just think of yourself as a puzzle. You're moving parts around, pieces around. So you want to really look at contrast learning as as part of the process. I work with that with my, I don't call them clients, I call them my miracle mates. Actually, client word doesn't work for me. But yeah, so in my one-on-one sessions, I'm able to assist them in seeing that the contrast learning, even myself, we are here to have that contrast learning so we can really have an experience. Not a heard experience, not a book read experience. Yes, they're great too, but your own experience. And I don't mean own making it just solo, but your the experience, what you bring to the table. So that must be there for that contrast learning to happen. Now, it's not always easy. It feels sometimes difficult, sometimes frustrating, irritating, everything that brings the word contrast, even myself. So yeah, we want to really realize that contrast learning is part of the process. And it will always be part of the process, because that's the only way that we can choose again, to be able to choose something again. Okay. So let me read to you something that I want you to just be a part of now. I want you to imagine now that you just stepped into a movie theater. Everybody can, do this. Imagine you just walked into a movie theater, and you took your chair, you sat down, and the screen started to come up, and there are other people in this room with you, and the screen starts to open up on the movie theater, and the first thing that it says, it says Era Street. So that's the first thing it wants you to look at. Okay, it's called Era, Error Street, Era Street. Okay. So I want you all to look at that as you're in the movie theater. Look at that first opening, Era Street, and think of two or three things, or maybe one or two, maybe two or three, that you think you did, or that you think you could have done differently, um, that really had an impact on your life, whatever that was. Okay, just pick one, maybe pick about two things. Two or three would be good. And you're on Era Street. We're all there on Era Street now, looking at the screen. Era Street. Okay. So now, once you have those two or three things in mind, now to ask you to go around to each of those things that you have and just say to each one of them, that was an error. To each one of them. Number one, whatever it is, that was an error. You're looking right at it, and you're reciting, that was an error. Okay. And you want to do that with each one. The second one, you want to go around to say the same thing, that was an error. Whatever is in on Error Street, you think that it was an error or a mistake. You want to now move the word for a mistake and put the word in error. And you want to say, oh, that was an error. You really want to give it presence. And once you've given it presence, we're going to take a minute now, and we're going to let go of the Error Street for a second. The screen is blank, just cleared. Just act like the screen just cleared. And then the next thing that pops up on the screen is called Forgiveness Row. Forgiveness Row. Okay. Now, you want to remember the things that was an error, because now those same things, you're going to go around to each one and say to it, I forgive myself for that error. So you want to go to each one to go, okay, I forgive you for this error. I forgive myself for this error. So each one, you want to take a moment And you want to go around to each one and just let each one know, I forgive myself for this error. Um, yeah, take each personally, individually, and just say it to it. I forgive myself for this error. And after we've done that, the screen is going to clear again. And I want you to realize now what has happened in step one and step two before we go to the last two steps of this. That on Error Street, you were able now to bring up to realize what I thought my mistakes were. So now it's not like a mistake. Now it's like an error, just a correction. Just needed a correction, just a simple correction to allow it to be seen. And as you would see that to be seen, then you can go into the forgiveness row to go, okay, I forgive this error, because now you don't have a lot of built up I call it your built up ammunition on the so-called mistake. Now it's an error. An error is more simpler to look at, or more simpler to really um, be in a forgiveness state for. So you want to give your chance. You want to give yourself now a chance to go, okay, I visited the error street. You can do this all the time. You can save this practice. You can do this tool for everything that you're really growing through. Error street is first, then forgiveness row. It is something you can always do. I have a lot of little uh, pointers that I've been using with all of my miracle mates, for the sessions I do with them, and it works so well. So you're gonna give a chance yourself now a chance to go, okay, great. It was an error. I was on forgiveness street. And we're gonna take another moment. The screen is cleared now again. So now the third thing that pops up on the screen is trust lane. Something you trust. Okay. Trust lane. Now, since you have the things that you thought that was an error, now I want you now to forget that for a second. And I want you to now think of things in your life that you trust. Could be anything. I'll give you an example. I trust when I jump in my Uber car, he's going to take me to the destination. I don't, when I get in, I do a prayer internally, and I just jump in and trust that he's going to get me to where I need to go. So just take a few things that you trust. It can be anything. And just hold that. Just look at that as a vision. Okay, I see myself. I trust myself jumping in the Uber car. I trust when I come in the door. I'm going to unlock it, and the key is going to fit in the door. In my house. So take a few things now that you trust, that you just don't even think about. You trust. I trust God actually more than ever at this point now. But yeah, trust. So acknowledge that. Just give yourself a moment about two or three things that you trust. And in that trust, you're feeling a sense of calmness, peace, assurity. Yeah, you feel assured that you trust. So we're on trust lane now. And when you're on trust lane, it allows you to have a peaceful place, something that you somewhere in you that you really feel safe with. Just on contact. You don't even think about it. When we get in our car, we don't go, okay, let me see, is the carburetor going to work? Is it, we just jump in, turn up, or jump in, it starts, whatever now. It just starts for you now. Yeah. So you trust that. So you want to hold that. Hold those things now that you trust for just a second in your space. Feels good and safe, and whatever other word you can think of. It's just a warm feeling that you feel around trust. So you acknowledge that, you trust that. So on trust lane, that's how we feel. We feel those things are naturally there, they're naturally for us, and it really takes us out of a resistance avenue. So it really unleashes that resistance that we have, the unconscious resistance. Okay. Now we're going to go to the screen is cleared again. We're still in the movie. Everybody's still in the movie. I don't know, no popcorn, no soda, but we're still here in the movie. Um, Forward place. Now, what forward place means is that you're going to now use everything, all the so-called errors that happen. You're going to see them now as your forward movement. So, in other words, on forward place, you look and review those things you thought that was errors. What did they teach you? What did they bring you? They brought you something. There's something that it brought you, something that it really move you to your next place of your business, relationship, whatever it is. There's something in forward place on that street as you look back that those errors, so called, taught you. And I'll give you an example of an error that I had. Thank goodness. I mean, errors come up every day. As long as the ego is involved, the ego, the errors are going to come. I have to know that. Okay. Um, so I was in a business with someone, with a few people, a lot of businesses actually, and it did not go the way that I thought it needed to go. It really diminished actually over a period of time. And I did this process, years ago, and I look back at this and I said, wow, what did that teach me? Where really at the moment, the person I thought was the person that was correct for that. They weren't wrong. There was no wrong. It was just what wasn't correct at this moment for this. And I realized what it taught me was that I wanted to now look in alignment. Where am I aligned with the people that I'm with? Where is our alignment? And if there was no alignment there, then I would know now that wasn't right. That was not right for me at the time. It was not the right fit, the right connection at that time. So in the forward place, I was able now to use that as my next form of movement to whatever I was participating in, because it allowed me to see the truth about um, what was behind the error, you see. But if I would not have gone through these four pointers, I would have held on to, oh, it's a mistake. I'm really feeling horrible about this, or this really, you see, all that built up resistance keeps the forward place from happening. Truly. Then we have to struggle in the forward place. Then we have to make things happen. I always tell people, I allow them. I don't make anything happen. Actually, I can't make anything happen. Just the one that does it. I allow it. I don't have to make it happen. And I know, not saying that that's not a right thing to say. People do say it because they think that that is what you must do. Yes, in the ego's lane, sure, you do. You got to make it happen. You got to, oh, it's just all of it. But in the part of this, not the ego, the true part about you, your true identity, um, as Didi was speaking about, the real identification of who you are, um, allow things to happen. You see, I always tell Miracle Maze, the more I grow, the less I know. Now that's really interesting, right? That phrase, because people will go, oh, well, but the more you know, the more you grow, the more you're going to know. No, because then the I, which is the ego's vein, that's a whole nother topic though, is out of the way. So if I'm guided, or when I'm guided, I am guided, spiritually guided or authentically guided, whatever name you want to use, it doesn't care, then you don't have to know, because you'll hear. You'll hear every point. You will definitely hear it as you move along. And so in forward plays, you give yourself a chance to allow, um, you allow the steps to come to you. You allow what's on the scenery to happen, through you, because you're not holding any resistance to the so-called mistake. It has really moved away from you. So yeah, I don't know timing, Carla, but that is the
I
four.
know, I know. We're coming to a close. We're coming to a
I
close.
love
We're
it.
coming
Yeah,
to a close.
yeah. I knew you would jump on. Thank you. Yeah.
We are coming to a close. If you had um, a parting suggestion for Mama Gigi, what would it be?
It would be Mama Gigi, you always were in the place of choosing to be you. You just probably forgot that those things were assisting you along the way.
All right. We appreciate it. And Mama Gigi is on. Mama Gigi is on. So she's very excited. I thank you guys so much. Wanda,
I'm
we
so
appreciate it. I know you're another busy as a bumblebee young lady. And so I know that your Saturdays are normally booked up. And for you to be here is a really big deal. So I appreciate you.
thank you. I
And
appreciate you
thank you
too.
so much.
Thank you, everyone.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Bye. Liz. Liz.
No, I'm here.
So am I.
Can you hear me?
So am I can hear you. We're good.
Okay, perfect.
Um, Liz Christie is a master herbalist
Yes, dear.
with over 25 years of experience. She has dedicated her life to helping individuals and families embrace natural healing through herbs, education, and practical wellness tools. Her work has made her a trusted voice in holistic health, and she continues to empower her community through personal guidance, hands on support, and a deep commitment to whole body wellness. How did you like that?
Absolutely.
There you go.
I, I'm
Liz,
speechless, Carla.
Liz,
It is humbling.
Liz, Liz. If I
Yes.
had known, I would have chosen me sooner. Take it away.
So for that, as a mother raising five children, with the assistance of my village, my tribe, you being an integral part, I feel like I would have been a lot more resolute with I want to say I'm going to use the word defending my lifestyle, and you understand where I'm going with that. I faced a
I
lot of
understand. I know.
resistance. Just to give your viewers that are not familiar with my journey, I did raise five children. ITAL, or what we now call vegan or vegetarianism. That it was all
Yeah.
about, a very God-centered household, but it was also that we have to take care of these body temples as well. And so before I really dig too deep into that even further, I just wanted to share some statistics with everyone because we're talking
Okay,
about
that's fine.
if I had known sooner. I think in my particular case, I probably, like I said, would have been a little more resolute in defense of my uh, how I was raising my children, particularly because I would have people say to them, "Don't you want to eat that burger? You sure you don't want that hot dog?" And those kinds of things. When I feel like they didn't realize subconsciously when you do that to a child, you
We can't hear you. Here we go. Oh, something weird is happening. Oh my goodness. I don't know what is happening. That's weird. I don't know. Maybe you're back. Oh my goodness. So I don't know what happened with Liz. Technical difficulties. Just give us a few, please. Are you back? We can't hear you. Oh, oh my gosh. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. All right. Well, we're waiting for Liz Christie, Master Herbalist, to return. So, guys, just give us a few. We should be up and running any minute now. I don't know what happened. Hmm. I hope everyone is having a really good Saturday. Thank you once again for taking time out of your day to hang out with us. Maybe I should bring on my next speaker. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, Liz Christie's back. If it's not one thing, it's another, but
can you
it's all
hear?
good. Nope, she's gone. Okay, I'm not sure what happened. Dr. Bennett. Maybe we can bring Dr. Bennett on. Dr. Bennett, she ain't in it. Oh, okay. Wait, Liz is back. So let's see.
Can
I
you
don't know.
hear me?
Hello? Oh, Hello?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you, I can hear you, but if it's not a technical difficulty, then it's not real.
And
Because
I
we always
promise
go through
you,
this. We always go through this. We
woo!
always go through
But that just to me amplifies that whatever is being discussed is it needs to be discussed. Please shut the door. Oh, Lord have his mercy.
we always go through this. So
So back to what I was saying, I feel like I would have been a lot more resolute in defense of it. I feel like people were always trying to kind of influence my kid. It's weird how when you try to do meaningful things for your children, even the people that you least expected from you get resistance. So I feel like that I would have been a little more resolute in how I defended raising my children. But even in saying that, I wanted to start out with statistics because we're talking about if we had known sooner. Um,
yeah.
and again, we're talking about time, taking care of families, if it applies, having jobs in the midst of all of that. So, full disclosure, raising five children, always had a regular job, if you will. um, he said, okay, he's about to load up. Dr. Hatch is about to load up I just got a text. But in any instance, um,
Okay.
for me, it was about time management that helped me. But I feel like if I could go back, there would be a few subtle things that I would tweak. Again, five children, three of them in the middle right now, 26, 27, and 29. She just turned 29. So 3 weeks ago, I had a 26, 27, and a 28-year-old, along with a 31 and a 22. So do the math when they're little, right? We're eating clean. So I didn't
So
have
I've
the
probably known you. I've probably known you.
right.
I I've probably known you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If the oldest one is 37 years, is that correct?
Absolutely. And I wanted to thank you for the 25-year mark because it kind of like it affects the age because it's actually longer than that. I've been living clean since I was about 23, so long
Oh,
before I even had children. Just exploring
yeah.
that part
I
of
don't.
my
It's been a
life
long time. I've known
uh
you for a long
more
time.
diligently.
I don't even
Right. And
remember
this
your
was
name.
at a
So
time where it's not as easy as it is now because we now a lot of people are eating organically or more plant-based because of condition. So I just wanted to share some statistics with everyone because again, we're talking about people who are busy, women who are heads of households or partners in households and how we can
yeah.
manage better and if we had known. So this is what I want to share with you guys. 41.3% of women in the US aged 20 or more are living with obesity. 20% of women meet federal physical activity guidelines. So that means there's 80% of people that lead pretty much sedentary lives. And that's not a good thing because that contributes to a lot of different conditions. So we'll get into that. But I also wanted to share, even more importantly, that colon cancer is increasing amongst people under the age of 50. Now, there was a time where you started doing colon screenings like 40, 45. They are starting to
Yeah.
lower these ages for
Wow.
these preventative tests because they are seeing an increase in colon cancer amongst younger people.
But
I'm not
why
surprised
is
by
that,
that at
Nancy?
all. I'm not surprised by it, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the things, most of the things that we're eating out of the supermarket contain bioengineered food, right? We're talking about
Oh,
bioengineered foods that contain a lot of chemicals, a lot of sulfites and different things. And so those are the things in the foods that contribute to allergies or
oh,
different conditions that we're not sure like what is happening. That's why now more and more, which is a blessing to me because the things that I've learned and the things that I know, a lot of it came through experience, clients, treating people for the lack of another term, or people who have
yeah.
have gotten conditions and have not gotten relief from the medical community in a way to relieve them and get to the root of
Yeah.
the condition. So they've taken it
Hmm.
upon themselves to do more holistic approaches on their own. And because they would get results, then herein, lies the change in lifestyle, right? So there's a brother
Yeah.
that I also I learn from, and I view a lot of his content, brother Yaki Elohim, and he's someone that talks about how he had a heart attack at like 21. He was super obese. He had all these different conditions, and all of it, for the most part, is connected to food and environment, right? So we have a lot of people don't know this, but the state of North Carolina, for example, has some of the what they say the dirtiest air. Now people would say, oh, that's the South, and oh, the South, let's go to South. It's not the city, but you have to understand what's going on. Meat processing plants emit certain fumes, especially the pork producers. They have this practice where they take the feces from the pig and they mix it with water and use it as fertilizer. So you can go to certain
Mm.
towns in North Carolina and certain times of the day, the stench is unbearable. That those areas also have high cancer clusters. So we have to make sure that even in our busy, we've been programmed for this like energizer bunny type lifestyle where, oh, I got to go to work, I got to do this, I don't have time for that, and that it puts us in this position where we feel like it's easier to order food than it is to prepare it. And I'm here to tell you that is just so not true. Again, I had no choice because I did not. First of all, I didn't have the taste for it. We didn't, when my kids were little, there weren't as many vegan option or vegetarian option type foods that would
You
be
couldn't
considered
find
fast
it,
food.
Liz. You
Right,
couldn't
except
find it.
Eva's.
Remember?
Remember, we would go to
We,
Eva's in the
yeah.
village,
Oh
right?
my God.
At that
We
particular
would
time, because we're
have we
talking
would yeah.
everybody, just to put it in context, we're talking about the mid '90s. Again, I got a lot of pushback. People were always saying to my kids, "Don't you want a burger?" And I'm like, "No, they don't want a burger." And I was not really doing processed
You couldn't
plant-based
find it,
foods.
Liz. You couldn't
Couldn't
find
find
it. You
it.
couldn't
Right, I'm
find it.
sitting here
We would be
making
all
almond
over
milk.
Manhattan looking for food for you.
Absolutely,
Yes, I
absolutely.
remember that.
So I
I
say
remember that.
all that to say this, right? Like the other day, I've been on a project that I've been working from home, and so I found myself the other day saying, you know what, I just want something really quick, and then I started thinking about how quick me ordering something from DoorDash would be versus me just getting up, going to my kitchen, chopping up something real quick and eating. And it took less time for me to do that. And so I say to people, we have to just utilize our time and make it a bit more focused, right? So that's that thing. I just kind of want to go back to, again, this obesity situation that we have in the country. Now, I am not one of those kind of people. You've heard me say this before. I don't beat people up. I don't beat people up about what they eat. I am not one of those people that think if you're super ultra skinny, you're healthy. No. However, we have got to accept that obesity is an issue without making people feel like they're body shamed, right? I always tell people check your levels, your
Yep.
vitamin D, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, right? Because see,
Mhm.
I'm not, people can see me from here up, right? You can't see my body. I'm a little over 200 pounds. I'm not out of shape or anything, but I have big bones, right? So I have thick bones, whatever. But I say all that to say this, to get into like the GLP-1s and like the weight loss drugs and things like that. We cannot look for quick fixes when it comes to especially obesity and weight loss, because it's also not just so much tied to food, but it's also tied to stress. A lot of times people don't realize that stress increases your cortisol levels. That kind of, helps the belly bloat and things like that. So we have to really take the time. We always say in the Health Crusader community that you pay now or you pay later, right? You're paying now or you're going to pay later. So if you are of the mindset that it's easier for you to not cook, right? Because you don't have time, you might want to think of what lasting impressions not making that effort will have on your body. My mother's 91 years old. Thank God. She's not diabetic. She goes to the doctor now. At this point, she goes like every 3 months just to make sure everything, 91, it's, I mean, it's a very delicate age to get to, that you have to constantly monitor to the body. But again, she still cooks for herself. She still eats well. And again, it's about investing in yourself. It's not necessarily about whether or not you eat meat or not. It is, what are you consuming that is going to nutrify your body? What are you consuming that's going to help you detoxify your body and have proper elimination? Because we've come to learn that most of the roots of disease start in the gut, right? We've learned that. Some of us have known it for a long time. Some of us are just getting to know it. But the point of the matter is we understand that what we put in our body has to serve to nutrify. And so we can't look for quick fixes. We just have to look at how we can better utilize the time that we have. And one of the things I think came into play for me is during COVID, that even though my children were grown by this time, we were all essentially living together, but I had a little job to go to during that time. And I would make my breakfast. I'm a coffee drinker. I drink regular coffee. Sometimes I drink mushroom coffee, but I was preparing my meals ahead of time so that I would not have to spend money. And it's like, once you start doing those things and you start feeling better as well, because it's something that you've made, you know what's gone into it, you know how fresh it is. And once you start feeling better, you start thinking better, you start being able to manage your stress levels better and things like that. And again, I wanted to just go back again to the colon cancer statistics. It's on the increase with younger people under 50. The statistics show that about 20% of those cases of colon cancer patients under 50, 20% of them have basically inherited it from a genetic mutation, right? So we have to start thinking about not only what we're doing to our bodies affect us, but it's going to affect our legacy. So for women, especially childbearing age women, if you are someone that you are breastfeeding, the benefits of you breastfeeding that child will extend to your generations. Okay, it extends to your generations. And it serves to, like I said, give your relatives the gifts of strong immune systems. Again, we talk about, especially now, there's a lot of different strains of COVID and flu, and we've come to accept this possibility of being ill, if that makes sense. Oh, it's flu season, and we kind of have this acceptance of getting ill. Well, I don't like getting sick, right? Especially with nasty, funky colds and flu. So what I do is I do as much preventative things and as much immune building things that if in fact I'm exposed to something, it has a minimized effect on my body because my immune system is at work. So that's another thing I wanted to leave you with. Carla, did you want to interject and ask any questions, or did you have any questions lined up?
Yeah, I do. I do. So one of the emails that we got in, because some folks knew that you would be live today, was once again, going back to the theme, right?
Hmm.
Um, I had known, if I had known, I would have chosen meat, right?
Right.
I guess the question is, so you briefly spoke about it, the fast food. I work crazy hours. I don't feel like cooking when I get in. I just need to pick up something really quick so that I can eat. But I'm continuously picking up fast food Monday through Friday.
Hmm.
Well, physically, that's not the best option for me. And so then I look up, and it's maybe a year and a half later, and now I'm 40 pounds overweight. And according to the statistic that you reviewed, what was it, 45%, 50% of
Somewhere
women
like
in
that.
America
Yeah.
are
Overweight.
obese? Yeah. So, how does someone pull themselves out of that situation?
we
What
we
are they
have to
doing?
we have to see, because that's, let me tell you something. And again, when I'm on property, you guys all know I travel for work. Sometimes I'm remote, sometimes I'm on property. When I'm on property, I make it a point, because see, this that comes from, a lot of that comes from, I don't eat breakfast in the morning mentality, right? I get that, because some people, you're not ready to eat in the morning. So then,
Yeah.
maybe your first meal is sometime around lunchtime esque. So 11 to like
Yes, that's
2, right?
right.
You don't eat within that window. You then started going into the later afternoon window of eating. You may
And you're
skip it because you're
starving.
saying, hey, I'm about to, you're starving. You might have that
You're starving
headache
at that
that
point.
comes with dehydration and lack of glucose moving through your body. I'll get to that in a second. And then what ends up happening
Yeah.
is you're like, oh God, I'm starving. I got to get something quick. That is the problem. So if you have that type of vibration, or you're on that type of timing with work, the night before, you should be
Yeah.
doing things like having, I do, what's one of my favorite things to have? I have non-dairy yogurt. I have coconut milk yogurt. So if you're someone that you don't do dairy, you can have a nice cup of yogurt and a banana or something like that. You cannot starve yourself. The thing is, I hear people all the time, especially diabetics, say, oh, I can't do potatoes, or I can't do that. We have
Yeah.
to have carbohydrates to move the glucose through our bloodstream. That is why you see athletes, they load up on carbs, right? For me, I have my carbs. I love potatoes, so you will see me making my homemade hash browns or my homemade home fries or whatever. But the idea is that you want to get your carbs early so that you burn it off, because it's fuel for your body. If you are starving yourself and then, oh my God, it's 3 o'clock. Well, I'm getting off at 4:30. So I'm just going to run to some fast food restaurant or some quick. You get home, you eat it. Let's be honest, you're never really satisfied. Come on now. I don't care how hungry you are. I don't care how good you like this particular fast food restaurant. It's still not that satisfying. And then about an hour and a half later, you're hungry again, right? Because fast food
Yep.
doesn't serve to satisfy, it does not serve to nutrify. And that's what we have to remember. The thing that keeps me from eating fast food is well, I'm going to say specifically fast food and not like the quick restaurants, because there are levels and I get it, is all the chemicals that they're putting in the food now to make it taste the way that it's
Yeah.
tasting. Okay, these are the things that people have to look at when we are looking at childhood behaviors, childhood illnesses. We are seeing so many children now becoming ill from eating those extremely hot and dye laden, chemical laden, hot snacks. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Too much
Hmm.
of it. And I hear parents all the time, look, our children, folks better get back to the way we were raised. That's all I got to say. Look, I've never had that challenge with my children. I kept fruit, nuts, seeds. Yeah, occasionally they had their chips when they got older. Yeah, they did their little chips and things like that. But children are creatures of habit. If you put it in front of them, if you have it available for them, I promise you, get the little clementines, get the oranges. Those are the things that, especially during so-called flu seasons and going back to school and getting those little sniffles that you get from the petri dish that we call class, this helps their immune system. This helps their immune system. And I just wanted to add too, look, if you are, as Mama Gigi said, listen, I was taking care of my children, taking care of my husband, I didn't take care of me. You can't do that, because if you're not taking care, because that was my mentality. If I don't take care of me first, the other 5 people depending on me are not gonna fare well. They're not. So
Yeah.
if that is what it's gonna take for you to take your time for you, then you have to, as I say, claim your calm in the chaos. We have to grab hold. And again, Dr. King, she I was in here jumping off my chair because, again, I say this all the time. I live a Colossians 3 and 23 life. I do everything as a service unto God. I cannot separate that. Okay. I don't have to shove my beliefs down somebody's throat in order to demonstrate that that's how I'm living. And when you do that, He gives you that, like you said, discernment, that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because that's what it's about. The word also says,
He's
"My people
amazing.
perish from lack of knowledge." Right. So these are the things, and that was another challenge I faced with believers. That could sit there and say without hesitation, "By His stripes I've been healed." But then when I was trying to get them to drink this rosemary to build up their immune system, that wasn't something that interested them. We cannot do any faith without works is dead, right? So you can believe a thing, but if you're not activating that thing that you believe, it's not going to serve you. And so in this case, like I said, when we're talking about if I had known sooner, we are in such an information age. God has just opened up this portal of information for people who want it, because you got to want it too, right? You got to want it.
Yeah,
I think
definitely
of
have to want
I'm my sister's keeper when we first started doing virtual conferences, and now all of the wonderful
it.
people that are coming in and sharing that we can do this thing called life, and we don't have to do it based on this illusion that we've been given. We can do it on our own terms because we have been fearfully and wonderfully made individually. And for natural living specifically, I'm so passionate about it, um, because it's my lifestyle, because it's been my lifestyle for a
Yeah,
very long time. It just I want people to understand. One of the things that we say is, don't accept your condition. When I hear people say, "Oh, eczema runs in my family," no, it don't. The lifestyle, it's the habits. Let's think about giving our legacy the gift of strong immune systems. Let's reverse these genetic mutations that they're telling us our bodies have. Because
Liz,
yes,
I
I
just
can
got a
say,
text message in. I'm sorry. I just
I'm
got a
sorry.
text messaging. Just got a text message, and someone wants to know why water over soda, why water over juice, and how much water should we be drinking? That's the text that I
Well,
just got in.
first of all, I can tell you that right now, water over sugar and water over juice, because of the sugar. And even if, like, with the exception of, like, I know I make a lot of homemade tea and homemade lemonade. Sometimes I'll put a little ginger in it, and I'll use the brown sugar or I'll use honey. But the whole idea of it is that it's the sugar that is the challenge in those equations, right? Our body has to stop to process sugar and any kind of sugar component like high fructose corn syrup and
Okay.
things of that nature. Our body has to stop what it's doing just to break those things down. And so it starts to batter your pancreas, right? And then you start being susceptible to what we call opportunistic conditions or opportunistic diseases. That means you could be in a room with somebody that got a funky cold and you just ate some sugar laden something that your body's over here trying to break down, and you're going to be more
Mm.
likely to walk out of that room with the sniffles, if that makes sense. Now, as far as
No, it
water
makes
is
sense.
concerned, it's suggested that you at least, I believe the equation is like 50% of your uh 50%
Wait.
in ounces of your body weight. Okay.
Hmm.
I will tell you this, and I've heard this on more than one occasion, that it is so super important, because we all know it's important to drink water, right? That's not lost on us. Now, drinking the water is the other thing, right? Actually doing it. But I'll keep this in mind. I want you guys to keep this in mind. There are studies that have been showing, and I heard this many years ago, but now we're starting to see it, that it is connected to dementia, Alzheimer's, senility, or whatever you want to call it.
So
Because
interesting.
our brain alone, from again, my stats could be a little off, but it's about I roughly about 85% of your brain alone is water, right? So the studies that I had heard from were that when you don't drink enough water, your
Yeah.
body forgets to be thirsty.
Mm.
I'm going to say that again. Your body forgets to be thirsty. Now, if your body's forgetting to be thirsty, that means there's something that's closing off in your brain, right?
Yeah.
And if
I
you
would think so.
know, people who are like anybody that's had a loved one suffer with Alzheimer's or dementia and whatnot, you know that after a certain time, your
Mhm.
body organs start to shut down because it's all
Yeah.
neurological, right? So we
Yeah.
have to make sure that we're getting our water. We have to make sure we're getting oxygen and alkaline in our bodies to offset things like rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, all of these conditions that we have learned to accept. Um, like I said, we cannot accept these conditions. I see, um, again, I love that you're doing this. If I had known sooner, I would have. And
Mhm.
for anyone that is in that space that they feel that way, I would say you are exactly where, just like Dr. D King said, you are exactly where you are supposed to be in this moment, right? Because knowing is half the battle. So if you're in a space where you're like, okay, hey, I gotta fix a thing. Knowing is half that battle. Now you got to start putting that foot forward. And for me, again, it is my passion, it is my joy, and it is my honor to share with people the ability to empower themselves, because see, that's my goal. I want to empower people. I wanted to help people say, hey, listen, I got my little rosemary plant in the back, or I have my little thyme, that kind of thing. Not that we are having, and this is not, look, I have certain purveyors of natural products that that I buy from and I support. So that's not what I'm saying. But I want people to be empowered to be in position to help heal themselves and keep themselves healthy. I feel like, even if you, especially if you're a believer, right? And we always rely on the fact that by his stripes we've been healed. Well, he also said that we will do greater works than he. And that's the thing that we have to keep thinking. Just like Dr. King said, we have to have that kingdom mindset. That kingdom mindset is going to transcend anything and everything that we do, and anything and everything that we touch. And that's how we demonstrate the love of God, in being that way. You understand what I'm saying? In empowering people to do these things for themselves. Like I said, I have 6 grandchildren. Thank you, Lord God. They're healthy as horses. My children, you've witnessed it. I have 5 adult children, strong, healthy immune systems and whatnot. And we don't know what it means to have a season. What does that mean? Flu what? We're thinking, people try to equate cold with flu and those things. No, those are bacterias and viruses and things like that. Those things can live anywhere. It's not cold. It's not tied to the cold. And we need to be mindful of these things. We need to be mindful of the simple things, like keeping your hands clean and not touching your face. Teaching our children when they're little to cover their mouth and not saying, oh, they're just little. No, teach these children. We got to teach the children to be the people that we want them to become, right? We want them to be manly children. We want them to be healthy children. They have to be taught that. We have to teach them those things and not apologize that we're teaching them these things, not feel like, because you're gonna, like I said, most people face resistance. That's what I faced. I had people telling my kids, don't you want to go out there and do such and such? And I would look at them like, why would you say that to a child? If I'm raising them to be upright people, shouldn't that be the goal? I don't know.
Um,
Maybe I'm
well,
segueing, but like I said, water over
yeah,
soda
because
and
I
juice.
know, I
Water
know.
over soda and juice.
When you go, you go. I
Stepping
know when
down
you
off the
go,
soapbox.
stepping down. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. Um, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you once again. I
I
know
love
that
you,
you too.
Carla, and I'm so grateful to be on this platform with you and part of this important movement, and with all the distinguished speakers. I cannot wait to hear Dr. Hatch and my dear sister, Dr. Bennett. I know it's going to be lit. Peace and
We
blessings,
appreciate you.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye, girl. Dr. Bennett, she ain't in it, is in the building. Dr. Bennett, I can't hear you. Uh oh. I can't hear you. Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Dr. Bennett said
There you
one
go.
minute. 1 minute. All right.
There you go.
All right. Hey, Dr. Bennett.
Hey, I am not
Okay.
loving my light, but this is what I get. I'm at my daughter's house, so
All right. So we're gonna work it out either way.
that's okay.
So, Dr. Bennett, is an education specialist with over 25 years of experience, has taught English as a second language and general education development courses while creating supplemental instruction for multiple healthcare programs, amongst other contributions in the field. She's done a lot. And I'm not here to tell you all of the things that she's done right now, but we have Dr. Bennett in the building. And so what we did was we compiled some of the questions that we received from viewers and have scenarios. Dr. Bennett will then give us next steps around those scenarios. So are you ready, Bennett?
I am. I am. So I just want to say thank you again, Carla, for allowing me to be a part of this platform. For all of our presenters who have came before me, fantastic. I always love listening to Empress Liz and her health advice and things of that nature. So I am so happy to be a part of this group of women who have so much to share and offer to other women and other people within our community and across communities. So, yes, I am ready to get started. And I just want to preface a little bit. We're going to do something a little differently. Usually, I speak and I talk about education. I talk
Yeah.
about certain things that we can do as women coming back into the workforce and coming back to school. But today we want to just have keep streamline it a little bit in terms of our time, but also have some scenarios, very real scenarios that Carla and I often face or even asked about. And so we want to have those scenarios, and I'm going to talk to the scenario, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So I am
absolutely. It
ready.
does. All right. So the theme of the event is for those who may just be tuning in. If I had known, I would have chosen me sooner. And once again, people might think that several of us gathered together to create this theme, but we really didn't. I was hanging out with one of my best friends from Trinidad. Her mom is here visiting. And her mother said, while cooking, we were laughing and joking like we always do. And I've known this person for well over 25 years. Her mom said to me, girls, if I had known, I would have chosen me sooner. We were both silent. We were quiet because I really wasn't sure where they were going. Okay. And her mom said, in her eyes, I never went to college. I never learned how to manage money. I never had a birthday party. I never took a girl's trip. And she went on and on and on about the things that she never had the opportunity to do because she put her family, her community first before herself. And now she's an older woman and she kind of feels like, well, some of this may be a tad bit too late. And I decided at that moment from having the conversation with Mama Gigi that I wanted to create uh, a virtual event where I could bring in folks who would be able to give some guidance and direction for those who are faced with that situation. And so, Mama Gigi, once again, this is all for you. And I appreciate Dr. Bennett. I appreciate you taking time out of your day because you're at your baby's house right now. I don't know.
I
You're
am.
at your daughter's house, but you still jumped on. So I appreciate you. So here we go. Situation one. Maria has worked in the same department for 15 years. She is the go to person for training new hires and she knows operations better than anyone. However, a management position is just opened, and she was told that she cannot apply because she lacks a formal degree or specific certificate. The question is, if Maria chooses to go to school, return to school now, is she starting over? Is she leveling up? How does formal education validate the 15 years of experience she already possesses? Dr. Bennett,
Okay.
take it away.
All right. So I am going to say this. My answer, my definitive answer is no. She is definitely not starting over. She is securing her foundation, and the experience that she has provides the how, but the education will provide her the credentials that her professional or the professional world will need for her advancement and actually requires. So no, she is definitely not starting over. She's just starting at a point where she is going to have to, as we say, pivot, or she's going to
Yeah.
have to introduce something different or something new into what she already has. But she has the experience. So you never start over when you have the experience. I will
Okay.
say that by investing in her degree, she is just putting a key in the lock. She's already built it for 15 years. She's done
Uh-huh.
the work, she's paid her dues. So now it's just time to put the paper, make the paper match or make the experience match the paper. That is all she is doing. And remember, your experience is always your engine. And, education is just the fuel that allows that engine to keep going, so that you can reach new destinations. But she is definitely not starting over. Absolutely not. She's just securing her
So,
foundation.
so Maria shouldn't feel bad.
No way. I think we've all been in situations where, and you kind of got to think of it like this.
Yeah.
Even for myself, and I know a lot of women in my field and in other fields, we've done the work for so long. But if there is a
Yeah.
point in our life where we want to attach a different credential or we want to go for a different certification to either advance ourselves in that field or take on another role within the field, that's what we do. So that's not
Yeah.
starting over, not at all.
Okay. Excellent. Next situation. Sarah is a grandmother who never finished her associate degree because she was raising her children. Now that her grandchildren are in middle school and struggling with their reading assignments, she feels that she can't help them. She worries that going back to school at her age might seem silly to her peers. So the question is, how does Sarah's decision to return to education unlock possibilities for her grandchildren? Can you ever be too late to serve as an academic role model? Bennett, take it away.
Okay, so this is dear to my heart. There is nowhere, no way, no how. It's never written, has not been written, where going back to school at any given point in time in your life is too late. So if anyone has ever said that to you or even suggested that to you, they're not your friends. I work with so many students of all different ages, all different nationalities, all different socioeconomic statuses. So it doesn't matter. It's never, ever too late because to me, learning is just very contagious. So if you start and your grandchildren see that you're studying at the kitchen table, or even for the parent, you're studying at the kitchen table, then they
Yeah.
see that, going to school is the right thing to do. They see school as as not a chore. This is something that is cool, or they see it as being a tool for life. So Sarah is not just getting a degree, she's changing the academic culture of her entire family. And it is so important for children to see that. And I'll give you a little example. I remember when I was going back, I went back to school for my first master's. And my children, I think at the time were like 9 or 10 years old. And I did not have a babysitter. I'm married, got kids, did not have a babysitter, but my husband and I, our schedules were so crazy. And because I didn't have a babysitter, I didn't let that stop me for pursuing the next degree. My children had to come to school with me, and they still talk about this today, and they're grown. They had to come to school with me. So what I did, and let me just say this now, college campuses won't allow it now, but it wasn't that long ago, but they would come to school with me and they would have to sit out in the hallway while I was in class. And I had their homework, their books. They knew they had to sit there, do homework. They had to read. They had to wait until I was out of that class. And so, but my kids thought that that was so important. And to this day, they talk about that. They talk about how, Mom, you went to school. Remember, we were on the campus with you. They start talking about meeting my instructors who they had come in contact with, and how my instructors would take them to their office and say, hey, sit in here while your mom is in class. So it was very important for them to see that. And I wanted them to understand that school was important to me and school became even much more important to them. So, no, so absolutely not. Your personal growth gives everybody permission to grow. So,
You
please do not stop. Do not stop
you
going
set
to
the
school. Do not
education.
think you're too, too late.
You set the
Huh?
expectation around education. You set the expectation around what education looks like in your home.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I never even
Absolutely.
heard that story before. I never knew that story. So that's something new. I didn't know that.
Yes, yes. My kids didn't even know that it was an option. And so I want
Mm,
people to understand that. Now, I'm not saying that this should be everyone's life, but my kids didn't know that it was an option whether or not they were going to go to college. They didn't know that they had an option. They just figure, hey, mom and dad graduated from college, mom went back to school. It is just that's what we do. And even to this
yeah,
day, both of my kids, I thank God that both of my kids are very successful in their own right. My daughter is back in school again. She's taken after me. Shh, don't say this, but she is back in school again. She received her master's some time ago, but she's back in school for her certification for a certificate, and she's an educator as well. And so, it's that thing that they see, that they understand. And I love it because her daughter sees her at her dining room table doing homework,
study.
listening in class, because
Mhm.
she's in an online doing an online certification program, and her daughter gets to see that. So I think it's great. So that's why I say your personal growth and going back to school always gives permission to everybody in your home to grow. So don't feel bad about that. You should never feel bad
That's
about it.
excellent. That's excellent. Situation three. Tamika is a bright problem solver in her community, but she struggles with high level academic jargon and complex text. She avoids leadership roles because she's afraid of being found out. She finds a program that uses plain language and is accessible material to teach leadership and law. The question: education is the key to unlocking possibilities, but what happens when the language doesn't fit the lock? And how does finding the correct educational environment change Tamika's trajectory?
Yeah. And you know what? And a lot of times I've had that said to me, especially with some of my non native speakers.
Yeah,
And the one thing that I always want to say that, intelligence is not defined by how many big words you know, um, or how many big words someone else's uses. It's really, can you solve problems? That's what the purpose should be. Can you really, really solve problems? And so I think that for a situation like that, perhaps finding a program that uses like plain, accessible language where, Tamika could move through some of the noise and get the core of the leadership skills that she already possesses. So, because she, once again, has the experience and has the know-how, but should not get caught up on the fact that maybe she doesn't know how to speak the language. That should never be a barrier. And remember that anytime you're in a situation, and let me just speak a little plainly about that, because sometimes in leadership we get to a point where, or we're in circles that we may not necessarily be as comfortable in. We have the knowledge, we understand what's going on, but then you walk into a room where everybody is speaking $50 words, $25 words, and you're sitting there like, why are we making this so complicated? So,
Wait,
so
you
go
said
ahead.
$50 words? You said $50 words.
I said
Uh,
$50 words. Yes. So why is this
Chicago is
so
in the
complicated?
building. Chicago is
Yes.
in the building. All right.
Yeah, not $2 words. We're gonna say $50 words.
Okay. Okay. I hear you.
$50 words. So, and trust and believe. I've also walked into those situations too, where I'm looking around like, what is everybody talking about? What is this? So, yes, they may be speaking the jargon of the field, but using
Yeah.
it at a higher low. But here's my thing. it's all about your confidence as well. Because I'm going to tell you, when I don't understand, and I'm saying this plainly, I never sit there and just pretend that I do understand. My point is this, excuse me, I'm gonna need you to break that down a little bit because what I'm hearing, I just want to make sure I'm not confused. I want to make sure I understand what it is that you're trying to get across. So using that kind of language as opposed to feeling intimidated, you know, put it back on them to explain it because sometimes people just want to talk just to hear themselves talk. And I'm just going to tell you that. So never, ever, ever be afraid to bring it back to a level that you need to have it so that you can understand. And then you can proceed. But once again, if that's not something that you can do and you feel like maybe I need to take a few more classes, maybe I need to understand, go right ahead. But understand, I always tell women this, young women this especially, especially young women who have been, put into positions where they have to lead and everyone in the room is older. Everyone that's in the room may have a little bit more experience, but guess what? They chose you. God chose you to be there. So what you do is you come in the room and you always command the room. And I believe in that. You command the rule because you were placed there for a reason. So command the rule. If you don't understand, have them bring it back down to your level at a way that puts them on the spot, takes you off the spot.
All right, Dr. Bennett. So if you had any parting words for Mama Gigi, what would it be?
For Mama Gigi,
Mhm.
um, and I kind of thought about that. I think though, for me, the only thing that's standing between where people are and where they want to be is the decision that they need to invest in themselves. And
Mhm.
sometimes we often think that education has a series of boxes to check, credits to earn, hours to log, tests to pass. But if we move from a mindset of compliance to a mindset of purpose, then we realize that education is actually your master key. It is the
Mm.
key that unlocks the door to a career that rewards your worth. It's that door to a business that serves your community. It's a door to a legacy that inspires your family for for generations to come. So I think that it is just so important that we sharpen our skills. Earn that degree if that's what you want, or just simply prove to yourself that you can. Don't think that you have to do it for any other person if that's not it. Do it because this is what you want to do for yourself. And remember, it's never ever too late to be who you might have been. So don't ever think that. And I tell my students that all the time. If you thought you wanted to be a nurse and you're 50 years old and you're like, well, I can't be a nurse now. Who says you can't be
Mhm.
a nurse? If you
Mhm.
want to go back to school and you want to be a nurse, if you want to be in healthcare, why can't you do that? Your age does not define that. So I want people to walk away understanding that you're building either legacy or you are completing a dream that you have for yourself.
Well, Dr. Bennett, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to be present
You're
with the other
welcome.
guest speakers. We appreciate you,
Thank
and
you
we'll see
so
you
much.
soon.
I always enjoy this. Always. I'll see you
Bye,
in
Dr.
October.
Bennett. Okay, that was crazy. I don't know what happened, but thank you so much for those lovely presenters that we had in the building this afternoon.
Really
Dr.
good.
Hatch.
What's that?
Hi, Dr. Hatch.
How
Dr.
are
Hatch,
you?
turn up your volume. Oh, let me turn up the
Okay, hold on
volume.
a second.
I am good, Dr. Hatch. I am good, Dr. Hatch. How are you today?
Okay, I think I should be up.
Yep. How are you today? you hear me?
High definition. There we go.
All right. How are you today, Dr. Hatch?
Okay, how was that? Can you
Perfect.
hear me?
I can hear you.
All
Can you
right,
hear
hold
me?
on. Mhm, mhm.
You see technical difficulties, y'all. Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Me? No, it's not me. It's not me. We can't hear you. All right, so Dr. Hatch has fell off. I'm gonna bring Liz back in until we can figure out what's going on with Dr. Hatch.
That
Is
means the
Liz there?
message is going to be pure fire. I'm sure it's always some kind of interference.
Okay.
It wouldn't be what it is if there wasn't some
If it wasn't,
interference.
because it
And
always
yes,
happens to us.
absolutely. I just wanted to say one other thing too. Just I wanted to share something about those GLP-1 weight loss medications and things like that because I wanted to talk about quick fixes before I jumped on my soapboxes. So just so you guys are aware too, those drugs are will do affect the facial muscles and your thyroid. So we're going to be seeing cases of where people are going to start having issues with their thyroid. And I'll segue to Dr. Hatch because it looks like he's on.
He it looks like he's trying to get on. I don't know what happened because he's not. I don't know. That's pretty weird. Like he's there. There's something going on though with his
Yeah.
volume. Okay, so I had a another text message come in um, when Dr. Bennett was speaking, and we thank Dr. Bennett so much for that insight. Um,
Yes. Yes. Made me want to go to law school. I'm telling you, I have been,
yeah,
I
when you
was
talk
so
to Bennett, she'll make
inspired.
you want to pick up a pencil. She'll make you want to pick up
There
a
he
pencil.
is.
Okay, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Ooh,
Nope,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yes. Okay,
Can you
there we
hear
go.
me?
I can hear you
Oh,
clearly.
gee. All right. So we have Dr. David Hatch in the building. Dr. Hatch has over 20 years of experience in corporate workforce development, shaping talent, leadership, and organizational strategies across major corporations, public sector institutions, a combat veteran, a strategic leader. He brings a grounded, people centered approach to leadership. How you like that? I mean, and the list goes on and
You
on
got
for you,
it.
but we don't have time
You
to go
got
into
it.
all of that. We don't have time to go into all of that. We don't have time to
That's
go into
okay.
all of that. So, Dr. Hatch is here because he
Yes.
wants to contribute his thoughts around if I had known, I would have chosen me
Mhm.
sooner. Dr. Hatch, take it away.
If I would have known, I would have chosen me sooner. I think a lot of
Mhm.
times for me, I always looked out for everybody else. And one thing I didn't do was really cover myself in a corporate setting at first. I had a hard time navigating because I thought, because I'm out and I'm gay, that I'm not gonna hide myself. I'm gonna be me and I'm gonna just live. And they really can't handle it, can't handle it. And what I found was that I was working at Macy's. I was a director of human resources. And my boss said, it's okay to be you. But everybody's not aware of who you is. And it will stop you from getting in the door. So you're going to have to find a way to still be yourself, but not alienate people. But me being hard headed, I'm out. I'm this, I'm that. My mother loves me. Everybody else cares. At the end of the day, I had a hard time struggling. And then finally, her name was Rosemary Flunchchild. She said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to say to you, whenever I see it, I see it. And that'll be your cue, what you need to do to fix it up a bit. After I learned that lesson, I got my first promotion to vice president. And I had known earlier that when you navigate with people, you have to meet people where they are. And everybody's not on your level. And that doesn't mean good or bad. It just means that they're not where you are. And so you have to find a way to temper yourself Learn how to move around in the room so that you're accepted and people can receive your message. My grandmother used to give a thing and said, if you want the children to have the cookies, put the cookies on the shelf so the children can reach them. So what I learned from that, I was working at the vice president of HR again at a white shoe law firm on Wall Street. And I had noticed that all of the African American associates, they were coming into work, expensive clothes, the Rolex watches, the 6-inch heels, the short skirts, the whole thing. And I had to pull them aside because I was mentoring them and coaching them that in this world where we are, you're not there yet. And if you show up in the room that way, people will not receive you. You will have time to be able to do all of that, but you've got to hold your fire. After learning that and seeing, I learned that with us as African American people and multicultural people, there's been no one really around to teach us how to navigate the room. There's been no one to teach us how to take the seat and hold the seat. There's nobody taught us how to give feedback and receive feedback. We think, I keep it real, I keep it 100. Everybody doesn't need it real at 100. Half of the time, people don't even know where you are. Okay, so you being real, that's your way of not dealing with your things. So for me, I learned that as I navigate now, being retired, that I hold my fire, even when I think I'm ready to pop or I might be right. You got to hold your fire. You got to listen because sometimes people are coming from a place that you don't understand. And you don't know the motivations behind their behavior. And one thing I've learned, most importantly, is that when we go through things in life, sometimes they're not about you. That struggle that you're going through, that unfortunate situation, that heartbreak, that crisis, it's not about you sometimes. Sometimes it's about the person that's going to come along in your life, and they need to get that lesson from you. But if you don't go through your lesson and you don't do your work, when they come to you for help, you won't be able to receive them. You won't be able to help them. And how unfortunate is that? Because we didn't want to go through our trial, our struggle, our frustration, because it's too difficult, it's too hard, it's uncomfortable. We've limited our potential to help so many other people down the line because my struggle wasn't about me. It was about someone else that needed me. And so I'm glad that I learned feedback without compassion is cruelty. You got to give the feedback, but you got to realize that everything that you go through, sometimes you just need to go through because it's going to make you so much bigger. It's going to make you so much stronger, so much wiser. Um, and sometimes it's just making you more informed. So that's that's the biggest thing I've learned for myself is just learning how to navigate the room, learning to hold my fire because I show up real big. I show up real big, and I don't deal with fool. I don't deal with foolishness easy. I don't deal with it. I'm not trying to guess what you mean. I'm not trying to figure. I'm not good with ambiguity. Say what you mean, and let's keep it moving. But I had to learn that everybody doesn't receive feedback like that. I'll give you another example. My sister, we were very close. We are very close. She knows that I like things very transparent. So something that happened in our family, and it got back to me that it came from her. I got on the phone. I was at Macy's at the time. I read her the riot act. You know we talking down. I don't understand why you went to someone else down. I hung up the phone and something said, pick up the phone and call her back. You are an HR professional that's been trained in giving and receiving feedback. Maybe she didn't know how to say it to you because of how you show up. So it may not even have been her trying to be devious or anything else. It may have been how you show up. I picked up my phone. I called my sister back. I said, I owe you an apology. And when we finished talking, she said, David, I just didn't know how to come to you because I know how you are. So then I had to learn to say, listen, I promise you, whatever the situation is, I might not like it. But you have every right to come to me and give me the feedback. And I will receive it and not bite your head off. But I don't ever want you to be in a space where you can't navigate with me because of how I show up. So it was a learning for me. And it even brought us much closer to today. Um, Another example, what I've learned. In grad school, for my doctorate, we were in a class, and it's one of these management classes, and one of the young ladies, she was talking, but I could tell that she had just came from undergrad, and she had never really worked out into the industry. And automatically, while she was talking, I said, "Do you hear yourself?" I could have melted when I did that, but that was that old David showing up when
Showing up
I'm not able
big,
to,
showing up
showing up, and
big.
I can't deal with foolishness. So what I've learned with that is that, you know what, or even with recruiting, when I go to meet with managers, there are some managers, they want to give you the fluff. They want to take you down the journey. Just That's what I learned from that. If you're recruiting for creatives, or if you're recruiting for IT people, that's how they process. So if you stop them from processing, because I don't need all the fluff, you won't be able to recruit for them the right way. You won't be able to bring the talent in the right way. So I had to learn to hold my fire, take a deep breath when I had to go meet with the creatives because they take forever. But I learned by doing that is I was able to make placements in their teams, and I didn't have such high turnover. But when I just left with, yeah, I got it, okay, thanks, I'm putting people into roles and they're constantly leaving. But if I had taken the time to
Hmm.
let the manager do his thing, because that's not about me, that's how he delivers his process. And that's what I learned. So I would encourage everyone who is going through a struggle in their life or going through a situation or you're at an impasse in the road, you don't know what you really should do. The first thing you need to do is get silent. You need to just first get silent. And then you need to ask yourself, I know what I want to do, but what am I supposed to do? Because if you do what you're supposed to do, later in life you can do what you want to do. No one gave me those messages before. And it was hard, but I learned, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey now. I'm with my partner. We have our challenges. We do what we need to do, but at the end of the day, it's about taking care of each other. It's about having shared space, having private space. It's about learning to agree to disagree, and sometimes just dropping the rope. Sometimes, I could win the battle. I really could. But I have to ask myself the question, is the spoil that I had to go through to win this battle, was it worth it? You good, boo. You got it. You got it. Did I lose you? Oh,
I'm here. I'm here.
okay.
So, for the woman, if I had
Hmm.
known, I would have chosen me sooner. So, we
Hmm.
have a lot of women who have sent emails in. They need someone to talk about the following. Well, I've been married for 10 years, but my husband's been married for 2. I'm in this situation and I have no idea how to turn my life around. What do I do? Mr. Hatch, Dr. Hatch, what is she doing? How do you start
First,
over? She feels horrible. She feels horrible about herself. She feels like a failure. She feels like people in her family are mocking her because someone said, "Girl, you shouldn't be marrying him." Her girlfriend said, "Why did you get married to him? We told you. I told you. She told you." What does she do?
first, I think we all have to learn. If one person tells you, you got to tell. You got to tell on your back. You know what? That's bull. If two people tell you, dude, you got to tell on your back. That's a conspiracy. You guys are just working on it. Three people tell you, you got to tell on your back. Everybody ganging up on me. If four people come and tell you got a toe in the back, you might want to turn around and look in the mirror because there may be a fluffy tail hanging in the back. And what usually has happened with many women and men is that we're in love with the idea of a person or a situation, but we haven't taken the time to determine one, what are my boundaries? What is acceptable? What what do I know about myself that is so important that I am not going to allow anyone else to diminish that in me? And when you start learning about yourself, forget about him, her, whoever it is, you got to learn you. You got to do your work on you and know you and know your boundaries. Know what your ticks are. No, give you an example. I've lived all my for many years on my own. I never had a partner, and I never said I was gonna have a partner. Are you kidding me? I don't have time for that. Then I met Carlos. I come home. So when I got off of work in New York, I take my coat off and throw it onto the side. Carlos a neat freak. I haven't thought about that damn coat. I'll get it when I get it. It would annoy him, but I didn't know. It wasn't until he told me that that was a problem for him. For me, I like my things in a refrigerator tight. I don't want to open them up or they're loose. And he had a habit of every time he'd open a soda or a jar, he would just lightly screw the top on. And it would wear me out. But I'm like, how would he know that if I didn't tell him? Because that's how he's always operated. So we've got to understand the space that we operate in. We've got to come to some hardcore truths about that space because sometimes that space it just is what it is. That's not going to support that situation, even how pretty it looks. You got to know your space, and I think a lot of people are stuck in situations and coulda, woulda, shouldas because they didn't do the first part of the work. Look at it for what it is, and life's not over. Let me tell you something. I should be dead right now, all intents and purposes. I really should. If you knew my story and my journey, but I can tell you gratefully and through the grace of God, I stand here now in a beautiful relationship, a beautiful home, a doctorate degree, driving my Jag, thinking about doing another one, living my best life in spite of what I've been through. You cannot go by you can't go by what it looks like. You can't go by what it looks like because you don't have the strength or the ability
So
to dream bigger than the universe. You got to drink. You got to
so
think
it's not
about it.
over till it's over.
It's not over till it's over. You got to put it out into the ether, and you got to walk in it. You got to talk in it, even though you don't feel like it. You get up, put your clothes on, you move and operate as though that thing is already there. You board it. You journal it. You set it down and you figure out how am I going to get this done, and what are my challenges? What am I willing to sacrifice? What am I willing to negotiate? And what is not optional? And that's how you start that thing. And it's never over till it's over. You listen. If we had a stop sign, and I asked the university for the university for a Mercedes, and you asked the university for a bike. When it's time to go at the stop sign, don't get mad at me because I'm in my Mercedes. You asked for a bike. Get to pedaling. You got to ask, put it out there, and make it happen. Just make sure that what you're asking for, you're ready for it. It's never over. Unless you lie to yourself.
Okay. What party? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just quiet because I'm taking it all in. What party words would you have for Mama Gigi? Mama Gigi said, remember, she was
Uh-huh.
married to a raggedy man. That's what she said. I cleaned it up
Uh-huh.
some. She was married to a raggedy man.
Uh-huh.
He took care of everything. So she didn't have a bank account. She doesn't know how to
Uh-huh.
manage money. She had
Hmm.
no one really did anything special for her because it was his way or the highway. What are your
Hmm.
parting words for her or any other woman who may be faced
Hmm.
in that type of situation?
Okay, so my greatest suggestion would be when you're navigating relationships and situations, if people tell you they're crazy, believe them.
Hmm.
If people tell you that if they're showing up a certain way in your life, and this doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. So you have to first move with the purpose of being happy and whole. And the minute that something shows up in your life that makes you question your happiness or where you're going, you have to then decide to step back, get quiet, like I told you, and come to some hardcore truths about it. Um, and finally, just celebrate. Let's celebrate. Listen, whenever you're feeling bad about yourself, go do something with somebody else. When you're feeling at your rock bottom, and the world is against you, or I don't have any money, or I'm trying to get it, you have to shift your frequency. I don't feel well today, versus I could feel better. I don't have any money. I can have more. I'm challenged. You got to shift your frequency because life and death is spoken in the tongue. So whatever you speak in your life, be careful because what you speak in the fall, when it comes time for spring for it to come up, you may not be willing to deal with what comes up out of that garden. So I say to you, speak your words, speak what you know is your truth, and live in it and move in it and operate it. Don't be a liar carrying Louis Vuittons and Gucci bags and all that stuff, and you don't have $500 in your bank account. Don't be a liar and you're wearing red bottom shoes and you don't own your home yet. What are you doing?
Ooh,
Me and my partner lives in a, when I tell you, a little studio for years because I was like, I need me a fabulous home. So we won't leave under our means. And we lived in that studio for 2 years. And when it was time to find our house, I told him, so what do you want? I don't know if we're going to be able to afford anything in DMV. What do you want? So he told me what he wanted. I said, I'm going to get it for that, and I'm going to get it under that. But if I get it under that, and I'm going to get us some money back, you're going to take me to Gucci to get these boots I want. We went to close. When she finished the closing, we got back $12,000 in closing. Money came back to us. I got the house under market,
nice.
and I went to Gucci and got my shoes. You got to have a
Oh
purpose
my
and an
God.
intention. A purpose and an intention. Even if you're going to the bathroom, have a purpose and an intention about it. I'm going to get the mail. Have a purpose and intention. Oh, I look cute when I go get the mail. What? Purpose and intention.
I hear you.
I go to the store.
I
I kid
can't.
you not. I can show you pictures. I go
You
to
know
the
I
store full dress right dress because you don't know. That's it. Hi, Dr.
I
Didi.
can't. With you, I can't. I can't. You show.
So thank you.
I'm
Listen, thank you
bringing
for
on.
this.
I'm
I
bringing
think
on the
this is an
speakers. I'm
amazing
bringing on the
thing.
speakers.
Yes. Hey, darling.
I'm bringing on the speakers. It looks like
Yes,
Wanda's
yes,
gone.
yes,
Do I have?
yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Bravo
Dr.
to you
David Hatch
all.
shows up. It just shows up big all the time.
Yes.
It's never, you can never walk into a room, Dr. Hatch, and just let it be that. It's always big.
You have to move the furniture.
But I appreciate you guys. Thank
Amen.
you so much.
Amen.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday. Mama Jean loves the idea of this, and she wants
Oh,
the ladies to come
oh,
back. It's all about us moving forward together
Absolutely.
to make a difference in our
Mhm.
lives, our
Hmm.
families, and
Absolutely.
our community. So I love you guys. Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you so
Bye
Bye bye.
much.
bye.
You all take care. You all blessed in my heart. Thank you.
Likewise.